Hello and welcome to another episode of Love Revolution. I'm your host, Mia Saenz. And as you know, this amazing series is all about experts who are sharing what they know and love in business, which helps us expand our horizons on amazing things. So before I introduce you to this beautiful woman next to me, remember to hit pause and get your drink, get your notepads and your pens, and just come back and settle in and do your breathing before you start. And when you do, just hit pause again and you'll be with us. So this is Kimberley Heart. She's a lovely woman. She's also become a friend because she's that amazing. And I just adore her. I think look at her. Doesn't she look fantastic? She's awesome. So Kimberley has been a concierge coach to high-end luxury businesses and celebrities. And now she's really into coaching love to help you and me and everyone else become champions of it. So let's welcome Kimberley. Welcome, Kimberley.
Thank you, Mia. I'm so glad to be here.
And the thousands are clapping. Yay! So Kimberley is going to share with us her work, and I'm going to just turn it over like I do everything else and just relax and enjoy from her. So take it away, Kimberley.
Thank you. And thank you so much for joining us here today. I really appreciate the honor of being with you. About 2 years ago, someone asked me, well, what do you want to do with your life now? Because I have the most amazing life. I have the type of life that when I was in my 20s, I would have never dreamed I could have. And there is one reason I have that. And it's because I had mentors who helped me love myself more and more. And what I've learned about self-love is the more I love myself, really, I don't mean just taking bubble baths or reading the books when I need to quiet down. I mean, in every decision I make, to really ask myself the question, is this a loving thing to do? And as I love myself more and more, as I love my body more and more, as I love what I do in the world more and more, life becomes more and more elegant, and there is less and less struggle. Now, I'll be the first to tell you there's a time in everyone's life, and that's absolutely true for me, when things aren't easy. I'll tell you a really good example. As I was shifting from being this concierge coach and strategic consultant for businesses and decided that I want to champion love, think about that in your own head, to go from this big title to, oh, what do you do now, Kimberley? Oh, well, I champion love. That was a real identity shift for me. And I was getting ready to go to TED, where I was going to practice being love's champion and no longer have all these titles. I have lots of degrees and lots of titles, and I wasn't going to tell them about that. And about a week before TED, I woke up in the middle of the night with vertigo so bad, I could not move my head a quarter of an inch to the right or the left without the whole room going. Long story short, for 3 days, I flopped around on the bedroom floor like as a fish out of water. I mean, I had to crawl to the bathroom. It was ugly. And what my mentor and I discovered, that the identity crash between having spent 33 years developing one identity where I have a reputation, to starting all over again to champion this thing that is so desperately needed on the planet called love, was this identity crash. And I fell right on my face, literally fell on my face. So we all have times when we struggle. But when we find out and we look inside to how we're separated from love, for how we're saying, my fear was, well, they won't appreciate me, they won't love me, I won't be able to lean back on all of these things that I used to use as masks. So now, as authentic and as vulnerable as I can be, what I do is I help you and me together learn to champion love. Because here's what I believe. The root of all evil is our separation from love. The terrorists, if someone had loved them, perhaps they wouldn't be terrorists. People who beat their wives and their children, if they really feel connected with love, they would never do that. And you and I, on a level that we can do something about, would not sabotage our lives, would not find want, would not find longing. We would have the life we want. Again, there'll be bumps, but bumps are far different than not being able to have the life we want. So my job right now is to champion love. So what does that mean? It means to help you understand what love really is in every arena of our lives. And I invite you to join this new revolution, this new commitment, this new movement called the Love Movement. And you can begin it by reading all you can on love. In fact, you can go to getlove.com and pick up my book and read about it in the sense of romance. But I really want you today to think about it wider than that. How would your body be different if you loved it? Because one of the things that people who believe in body symbology, and I happened to go to medical school with E.J. McCraney, who was the father of somatic medicine, a belief that all illnesses are emotionally induced, even though they are really organic, something breaks in your body. It broke because you didn't deal with the feeling, maybe because you didn't know how or because you were too afraid to. That's why it's so important that when you love yourself, you take the time to get the right mentor by whatever title. I don't care what title they have. And truly, because I have a lot of degrees, I can say this to you. I don't care whether they have any degrees. What you should know is, can you begin to develop trust in them? And do they challenge you in such a powerfully gentle way that you can look at your own self-lies, your own self-duping, and your own separation from love? Because that's where it begins. It begins with you and I really, truly learning to love ourselves. So let's get practical. How do we do that on a practical basis? One of the things we can do is we can ask ourselves the question, when we look at our schedule on a daily basis, is this a loving thing to do? Now, if your schedule looks like Mia, or your schedule looks like mine, there are days we literally can't breathe. We forget to eat. I will wake up in the morning and not know what city I'm in. Truly, I play this game with myself. I don't open my eyes and I don't look at what hotel room I'm in and I go, what city am I in? But you see, that's the type of lifestyle I choose. I want to be that busy. I want to be out in the world with you. I want to be meeting you. I want to be doing my seminars and lectures and consulting in firms, because you see, businesses and law firms need to have a baseline of love too. And you go, wait a minute. Businesses care about love? Law firms care about love? Listen. The truth is, I changed the vocabulary for them, but it ends up being the same thing. Are they being self-respecting? Do they know they matter and have significance in the world? Do they have a level of confidence where they know they can reach the next level of success? That's what I do in the business world. But now let's change that into your and my heart. Do we know we matter? Do we know that we're significant? Do we look at our schedule, now back full circle, every day and ask ourselves the question, am I doing in life what I was born to do? When I was sitting up in heaven with my soul and deciding to come into life this time, and we decided, okay, this is what I'm going to do this lifetime, are we doing that? And if not, how come? A friend of mine asked me why I thought that someone in his life was living such a mediocre life. I said, they had every advantage, and they threw this lifetime away, truly threw it away. And the reason why is they weren't willing to get the support they needed. Hear that. No one needs to do this alone. No one can do it alone. Not anymore. The world is too complex. It's too diverse. We need help. We need support, and we deserve it. And this particular person wouldn't get the help they needed, and they threw every single advantage away. And then we hear stories all the time about people who had no advantage, but they got themselves mentors. They found people who believed in them. And so what's the difference? One person learned to love themselves. The other person did not. It is not about advantages. And advantages help. Money helps. Position helps. Who you know in the world helps. But it's not required. It's not required at all. Who you know in the world are all these wonderful talents that Mia brings to you consistently. You now know them. You can reach out to them. You can choose if any of them fit for you for a mentor. You can choose who you feel you can trust. Even if you don't have a dime, the public library will give you access to most of our books. See, there's really no excuse. And if you have an excuse, it's because there's a part of you inside that doesn't believe you're worth loving. And I've overcome that Mia's overcome that, and the people we work with have overcome that. Because I was raised in a really violent home. There was no question about whether you were loved or not. You weren't. Oh, they were doing the best they can. That's a lie I hear people say about their parents all the time. Maybe some parents were, but many parents weren't. But you know what's so cool about adulthood? You have been on your own longer than you ever lived in your parents' house. So the people not loving you now is not your parents or what they did or did not do to you or for you. It is about you and what you do to you and what you do for you. You are worth all the love, all the beauty, all the bounty the world has to offer. And the part of you that just rejected that statement, the part of you went, no, Kimberly, not me, that's the part you need help with. That's the part you need to bring to the surface. So I'm going to teach you something today. It's called the aspects of self. We all have many components of ourselves, and we know that. But let's break it down, write it down, press pause, go get your piece of paper and pencil now because you're going to want this. The 12 aspects of self are the parts of us that we know of, but no one's broken it down for you. For instance, we all know we have an innocence in us. This part of us that is innocent, that occasionally looks at the world with wide-eyed wonder and are just awed by it. Whether it's a rainbow or a bubbling brook, or whether it's sitting on a playground and watching children and feeling their innocence, we all have the innocent part of us. We all have the waif. That's the streetwise one. That's the one who, if you have not yet created to be healthy, is the one that is critical and suspicious and doesn't trust anyone for the sole purpose of trying to keep you safe. Then there's the nurturer in you, the one that nurtures, the one that gives to other people. And if you have not yet grown that to be healthy, it's the one that gives more than they should, because you should never give till it hurts. That's called martyr. Then there's a part of you that is the master, the one that has mastered a skill. If you raise your children and you've raised them well, then you've mastered that skill. If you're a writer, then you've mastered that skill. If you're in health, then you've mastered that skill. What skill have you mastered in the world? Then there's the fool in us, perhaps the most powerful component of all, the part that's willing to jump off the cliff and trust that we will be just fine. Now, do I really want you to go jump off a cliff? Of course not. It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor, okay? The one that reaches into the unknown without having any of the answers. And then there's the wise one. Yes, absolutely. In you, there is a wise one. And sometimes you'll be sitting next to a girlfriend or a male friend, and something will come out of your mouth. You go, whoa, I said that? That was really cool. Someone should write that one down. Yes, there's a wise one in you as well. And then there's the seeker of truth in you, the one that seeks the truth for you, in you, and in the world. And then there's the seeker of love. And if you've not yet grown that to be healthy, that's the part of you that moans all the time that there aren't enough good men in the world, or women betray, or something like that. But when that part of you is healthy, the love they seek is the love internally and the love of divine. Because when you love yourself and you receive the love of the divine, by whatever name, you are connecting the two ends, the bridge, and everything in between is called life. And then there's the destroyer in you, a very important part of you that you learn to gain friends with. It's the part that's supposed to go out and destroy all the hurdles in your way, not the good things in your way, not self-sabotage. And then there's the creator in you. And creation is love's work. Hear me on that. Creation is love's work. So if you want to get over writer's blocks or artist blocks or what to do next, it all starts with loving yourself, because it is what works when you really love yourself. And then there's the warrior in you. The warrior in you is the part that believes that you need to fight. When Su Sung, the master of all war, said, a true warrior knows that the answer is never to go to war. So instead, what the warrior can do is create an easy path. And finally, the magician in you, this magical source in you that when you think it, it can become true. When you are aligned with all the other parts of you, when you truly love yourself, by making daily decisions, Is what I'm putting in my mouth loving? Is walking loving? Is this person who's been my friend forever but who abuses me all the time, is that loving? To make your decisions based on what's loving. Then the magician in you creates magic. And magic means something more than you had the right to expect. And we've all had that happen. It's like, oh, that was magical. Yes, absolutely it was. And it's about having all those aspects of yourself in alignment, and by allowing yourself to answer the question, is the choice I'm making now loving? These are really practical things you can do. Learn about the nurture in you. Close your eyes, spend 2 or 3 minutes, and bring forth in front of you what your nurturer looks like. And here's a trick. They will be of both genders. Now, what I suggest is you create in your mind's eye someplace safe in nature. And you draw a circle in the dirt or the sand or wherever you are, and you have each one come and stand around with you and tell you how they think. Now, I tell you that this is a very easy yet incredibly complex way to get yourself, all of you, in alignment with what you want. So, for instance, my book, Get Love. When I was getting ready to publish that, I had to talk to each one of the aspects of myself and see if they were willing to be visible in the world. Because visible, vulnerable, and authentic is what's required if you're going to champion love. And I'll tell you, I had some work to do with some of them. Some of them went, are you out of your mind? If you're visible in the world, someone's going to hurt you. Someone's going to take a pot shot at you. Stay safe and work for businesses. It's easier. You know what? It might be easier, but it's not why I came. I came to be with you. I came to be with myself and to champion love. And I want to invite you to be part of that community, to be part of that movement, whether we ever meet or not, by asking yourself real practical questions. Is my nurturer helping me now? Is my destroyer helping me now? Learn to deal with them. It's a wonderful thing to do for yourself. You can do it by journaling. You can do it by meditating. You can do it on tape recording. Learn about yourself. And then you know how to love yourself. It's not this something etheric thing that people say, oh, love yourself all the time, but they don't give you any clues to. If you love all the 12 parts of you, if you love the child who I did not mention, and the adolescent who I did not mention, and the young adult, if you love them as well, then you are in alignment and you are a self-loving person. Not perfect? No, we will never be perfect. Don't strive for it. If you strive for perfection, you will always fail because we can't be. We're human. As long as we have belly buttons, that means a sign should be hung around our necks, cannot be perfect. It's okay. We're not expected to be perfect. What we hope for is to be more and more loving in the world.
You know, you said one word that people ask me a lot about. They're thrown by it, they don't get it, and that word is vulnerable. I think it's one of my favorite words because it's magnificently powerful. We become powerful when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable and understand that there is no harm to us in doing so.
That's right.
Because everyone thinks that or a lot of people think that vulnerability is a horrible thing, and I think it's incredibly beautiful.
It is so beautiful. Maybe this will be helpful. When we're vulnerable, it's like Marianne Williamson says, we dare our brilliance. We dare our grace. We dare shining in the world. That's what being vulnerable is. Vulnerability is also sharing with you that I flapped around on the floor with vertigo because I had a crisis of identity. That's being vulnerable too. So I'm not that different than you. I just have 35 years of this journey of self-growth and mentors who I adore. I adore them. They're always honest with me and they always love me. I want that for you too. Beginning by being vulnerable with yourself and your aspects of self and getting to know them and being safe enough for them so they'll tell you their not so great sides and their brilliant side. How wonderful is that? Vulnerability does not mean handing someone a hatchet and ask them to go after you. Mm-hmm. It means handing yourself your grace and being responsible for that.
I remember when somebody asked me a couple weeks ago on an interview what vulnerability meant to me. And I mean, you hit it all. It's the trust, it's the authenticity, it's the true love. It's amazing. It's amazing.
It is.
Yeah. And when we
And it,
allow ourselves to be vulnerable with somebody that we love is very powerful for us in addition, besides allowing them the space to come forward and be magnificent.
yes. If we now change the word vulnerability from global to romantic relationships, see, it's the vulnerability we love in each other. We don't love anyone's perfection ever. We might admire it. We might respect it. But what do we love about each other? That we're sitting on the couch in our blue jeans and our sweatshirts and we're eating popcorn and we're laughing together and no one has their hair on and no one has their clothes on. They are all just being real, authentic and vulnerable. Our kissing cousins, one without the other, doesn't really work. And vulnerability in a relationship. I'll tell you a challenge that my mentor gave me. He said, Kimberly, would you allow a man totally to adore you? We'll just say sitting on the couch, hold you and adore you without squirming. Now think about that. Would I give myself the opportunity to be loved in that way? Would you give it to yourself? Or would you start squirming and wonder, well, I'm a little overweight and I don't have any makeup on and my hair is a mess. Why is he looking at me? What's he looking at? Is that the voice that would go on in your head? Or is the voice that would go on in your head, I am so grateful that this man adores me. Mm-hmm. And hear me, I am not going to hurt him by refusing him the opportunity to love me in this way. Because I promise you, if the roles were reversed and you were holding the man in your life or the woman in your life or the child in your life or the project in your life or the work in your life that you adore and they refuse to accept your love, how hurt would you be? Yet in our heads, especially as women, we go to, oh, they're looking at me. Oh, yeah, that's a really great look, but what do they want? Or I'm not perfect. We do those things. All symptoms of not loving ourselves.
Right, because true love is having confidence. And so when somebody grabs us to hold us that we care about, I mean, we're not saying let somebody just grab you who you don't know.
No, not at all.
But somebody that loves you or you love them, to have them just hold you and just be still is really beautiful. And it's confidence, which is self-love,
yes.
Isn't that?
Right. Confidence is a form of self-love. Confidence, by my definition, is no matter how successful you are or how often you fail, you'll be able to cope. Mm-hmm. Think about that. You'll be able to cope. So this person is adoring you, and you can cope. Mm-hmm. You cope. We all have practice with failure. We all have practice with feeling not enough, and we know that road. I challenge you to get on another road where you begin to challenge yourself with your grace, which means what comes naturally to you, like flight to an eagle, to challenge your brilliance, which means being willing to shine for the world, and whether that is in the grocery line or letting someone cut in front of you in traffic or whatever you do in the world, to shine your brilliance, no longer to mask it. Take the basket off over your head and let all that light that you are shine. And then the part of you, the voice in you that, I heard that, the voice in you that just went, oh, Kimberly, that's you. That's Mia. That's not me. No, of course it's you. Of course it's you. You came to shine. And if you're not shining yet, it's because you haven't yet found the place in you where you believe in yourself. And Mia brings to you these experts consistently. Use them. Fill yourself with them. Fill yourself with the words. And use the practical exercises that I bet each and every one gives you. And do something with it. It's for you. You deserve it. You deserve it. It's for you.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. Wonderful. You are the champion of love. That's your next book. The Champion of Love. I love it.
Right.
It's beautiful. This has been really wonderful. Now you have a free gift for everybody. Would you like to talk about that? You have two, you told me.
I have two free gifts. Go to the website. It's really easy. Get Love. What do you want in your life? Love. So it's really easy. GetLove.com. In the right-hand corner, you will see audio tape unending loneliness. Don't have to buy anything. It's not a pitch. A whole discussion on ending loneliness. And the other one, my second free gift to you, is true love. A discussion about what true love really is. Free audio downloads, doesn't cost you a dime. Please accept my gift. Allow yourself to get more and more love in the world.
It's wonderful. It's beautiful. Thank you. Now you know why I love this woman, everyone. She's brilliant, isn't she? Yes. Wonderful. What would you like to leave us with? And thank you also for being here and sharing your beauty and your wisdom and your grace. It's wonderful to have you here. But what would you like to leave? You've already given us so much, but what would you like to leave us with? A thought process or something?
I want to leave you with a challenge.
Ooh.
The challenge I want to leave you with is to begin the journey or heighten the journey on understanding that you deserve all the goodness, all the bounty, and all the love the universe has to offer.
That's beautiful. And that's awesome. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us, Kimberly. You are amazing.
My privilege. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone. And we'll see you in another segment. Bye.